As with every new school year, 2023-2024 comes with yet another predictable release from Apple, a brand new iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Pro. You may be drawn in by its slightly updated specs and brand new charging cable, but don't be fooled. Buying the 15 could possibly be the worst decision you make this entire school year. In this video, I'm going to break down 6 main reasons why buying the 15 could be detrimental to you as a student, and 1 hidden reason why it might benefit you. Let's jump into it. It really depends on the person, but for most normal people whose self-control isn't that of a monk, having the latest tech will make it almost impossible to focus on their work. The latest technology is typically decked out with new features, options, controls, but what people don't realize is that these bonuses come with an inevitable dark side. With each new iPhone, new mechanics are integrated into the phone itself that are specifically designed to hook you in. They make you spend more time on your phone and more time scrolling, because the more time you spend scrolling, the more money they make. This is actually the second reason you might want to think twice before buying the iPhone 15, because of the disgusting reality of where the profits of companies like TikTok and Apple go. 90% of Apple stock is held by hedge funds and mutual funds. This means that 90% of whatever profit Apple makes is sent to these hedge fund companies and mutual fund investees. If you don't know what a hedge fund is, it's basically where econ and finance majors go to make the riches they've dreamed about. It's a bunch of kinda corrupt people making money, granted a lot of it, by day trading and investing in various forms. Honestly, they don't need any more money, and for some people this is a really strong turnoff to Apple products in general. And this is something to think about, especially if you buy the new iPhone annually, because you'll be pouring a lot of your hard-earned money into these finance magnates' pockets. Personally, I couldn't care less about some web designer or random ultra-rich woman in California making millions of dollars off of your scrolling if it didn't affect your ability as a student, but the sad reality is that it does. Think about it like this: if you're not paying for the product, then you are the product being paid for. This provides incentive for free apps like TikTok to keep you on the program for hours. This prevents you from achieving in school at the level you deserve. Now you may be asking yourself, well sure, I already know that TikTok and Instagram are time sucks, blah blah blah, but what does buying the iPhone 15 have anything to do with this? Well, I'm glad you asked. Phones grant access to a whole made-up world in our minds, full of apps, texts, games, and random people who we don't even know. Kinda like a real-world metaverse that every single person in the world who has a phone creates in their own mind. Simply having a phone grants access to this metaverse, and without an appealing interface, lower quality phones don't pose as much of a time-sucking danger. Having the highest quality phone on the market, on the other hand, is like paying extra to guarantee spending more time in this fake digital world and less in the real world. This has a plethora of effects on humans, and it doesn't look good. Just look at the data of happiness of Gen Z. Depression is higher for us than any other living generation, and we are the only generation to have access to phones in childhood. Correlation does not always mean causation, but it's definitely something you need to look into. Every human being has gone through some sort of episode of unhappiness, and we all know how hard it is to be productive when you're stuck in a dark hole. If only because it will make you happier, opt for a lower quality phone in hopes of limiting the time you spend scrolling. Listen, having a good phone is nice. It can make life less stressful, and some even argue that it can make you more productive. But I advise you to look at both sides of the argument before blindly following the crowd, especially with almost $1,000 on the line. Speaking of $1,000, let's talk about cost. And holy cost. Apple is great, I gotta admit, and I'm a pretty big fan of their devices. The quality is top of the market, but price is definitely an issue. So here are the baseline prices for pre-orders straight from the Apple website. Let's say you're not trying to go all out. iPhone 15, $799. iPhone 15 Plus, we got already up to $899.
That's expensive.
With those prices in mind, I want you to picture this scenario. You're in school and you're gonna be broke. Even if you made some side money over the summer, or I don't know, you have a little job, it's not gonna be a lot. Let's say ideally in one summer you saved up $1,500. Now fall rolls around, school starts, and the new iPhone comes out. You buy it, you add on 256 gigabytes of storage as I showed you, pick your favorite color, and add on tax. Shipping, as we said, is free. That's gonna come out to around $899. And you're left with $500 in a new phone that is only marginally better than last year's model. Listen, this might not sound so bad, but the issue is that this can become a cycle. And if you repeat the cycle, things start to get really expensive really fast. If you buy the new iPhone every year, you're signing up for an approximate yearly cost of $800 to $1,000. And as a student, that is simply unsustainable, as you'll be responsible for so many other costs and expenses in the future, or if you're in college, you're probably responsible for those costs right now. If you take anything away from this video, I hope it's this, because sacrificing your financial health for a new iPhone 15 is a really bad idea. The only case in which you should be able to even consider the purchase would be if you're constantly on the grind, running side hustles, and if you actually have a side income that isn't just minimum wage or a short-term summer job or just like working at Starbucks or McDonald's. In the coming months, I'm gonna break down how I grind personally as a student and the best strategies to make the kind of money that you could be able to afford an iPhone 15 without sacrificing your mental health or your grades as you work your way through middle school, high school, and college. So feel free to subscribe and check out my other content if that sounds interesting to you.
Do it.
Not only is the price of the new iPhone exorbitant, blatantly put, buying the new model every year is financially irresponsible.
Oh, that's just like financially irresponsible.
Because of something called planned obsolescence. Now you're probably wondering, what the heck is planned obsolescence? To explain, let's pretend you own a local light bulb business in the 1920s when the idea of planned obsolescence was born. For the first few years of the business, profits are booming, people are upgrading their homes to have electricity and to install new light bulbs, and basically life is good. Unfortunately, after 5 great years of business, your profits begin to drop because everyone already has all the light bulbs they need and your business isn't in demand anymore. This is a major problem for you, so you decide to design light bulbs to fail after a few years, basically shortening their lifespan, forcing your customers to keep coming back. This is planned obsolescence. Oftentimes though, companies don't design the product to fail. They just plan out 10 plus years of new iPhones, new models for whatever their business makes, and make each new model marginally better than the last one. For example, give it a bit of a better camera, give it a new charging cable. Apple is the perfect example of planned obsolescence because they do it exactly by the book. This means that you're never going to have the best phone because the techies at Apple already have 3, 4, 5 plus years planned out of new models that are going to be so much better than the one you have. You get the point. But buying the new iPhone each year, you are being fooled by one of the first business tactics in the business tactic handbook, and are knowingly investing in something that will become obsolete within the year. This is made even worse by the fact that you probably don't even need to replace your current phone. Right now, look down at your phone and answer these 5 questions. For every one you answer no to, give yourself a little point. At the end, we'll analyze what it all means. Does it turn on? Does the camera work? Can you text? Can you call? Is the operating system up to date and can you update it if necessary? If you got any points at all, then you can think, or maybe you even should think, about upgrading your phone. Otherwise, think twice before spending $1,000 on a gadget you probably can't afford and definitely don't even need. Although buying the iPhone 15 is mostly a bad idea and I do not recommend it, there is one hidden benefit. A lot of the time, I find myself lacking motivation to do my homework or work on any of my side hustles or really get down and do any of the dirty work in my life, the work that actually gets you somewhere. So I tend to watch a bunch of TikToks, Instagram Reels, or YouTube videos to get me hyped up. Some of that David Goggins shit, you know?
I was the one holding me back. I was the one looking for the scapegoat.
Although this tends to work, the motivation is super brief and will disappear within a few hours. What if I told you that by saving up for next year's iPhone 15, you could reprogram your brain to stay motivated for days, weeks, and even months? Basically, here's what you have to do. Write down a few goals that you really want to accomplish for this year. Goals that you tend to struggle coming up with motivation for. This could be writing an essay for your class. This could be getting straight A's. Whatever your goals in life are right now, write those down. If you accomplish those by next year, and by the time the new iPhone comes out, then you can reward yourself by buying the new iPhone, and you will really feel like you worked for it. This is the one way to hack your motivation and is super influential. I have a few of these motivational triggers. I want to go on a summer study abroad in Europe, hopefully Amsterdam or something like that. It is a goal that I desire with a burning passion. My second goal is to get into McGill College in Montreal, Canada. I still desire it with a burning passion, and that is the most important thing. If you desire anything with a burning passion, think of that every single time you are feeling down or unmotivated, because that's gonna fire you up. If the iPhone 15 is that for you, or the iPhone 16 next year, then you know what? Go ahead and save up for it and buy it. Listen, it all comes down to personal choice, but my heartfelt advice is that instead of the hottest new iPhone, buy something that bugs out, like my old trusty LG. To this day, I use an $80 Motorola, and that gets the job done. I can even record YouTube videos on it. If it didn't lag every time I scrolled or glitch every time I opened a snap on Snapchat, I would definitely waste a lot more time on Instagram and TikTok and be a little less involved in the real world. I know most people like having nice technology, but if it comes at the cost of your financial health, happiness, and productivity, maybe it's time to consider an alternative. This goes out to all the academic weapons out there who feel like they aren't reaching their full student potential and feel like their grades could use a little boost. Check out my channel for more studious tips, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.